Hey, this is Anney.
And Samantha.
And welcome to Stuff I Never Told You, a production of iHeartRadio. And today we have a bit of a lighter one, a bit of a sillier one, because we do have a holiday weekend coming up. We do have some vacation coming up. So this is what you get. No, I think it'll be fun. I hope everyone is having a good time, whatever you're choosing to do. We're having a kind of hectic rush to the finish line, which is kind of, because I am running a race as is tradition.
It's true.
The July 4th tradition.
I have bowed out not so gracefully.
Those pictures you took were epic in that last race we did. That was so good.
The final race, I was like, I'm done. I did it. I did it.
And you like came up to me and were like, I can't stop. We got to go.
Like, if I sit down, I'll never get up again. Let's go.
So I think it was the perfect exit for you. Don't worry about it. I'm anxious about it, but I'm doing the virtual one, and I did it last year, and it was actually really lovely. So at least I have that. I'll have the AC on. I'll probably be watching Empire Strikes Back.
There you go.
I don't know. It's nice. Quick content warning for our 4th of July movie episode. It's going to be a little gruesome in some places because, of course, I watch horror movies. So just to put that out there. But I kind of wanted to talk about, because I don't think you do this, Samantha, but I have my list of July 4th movies.
I don't have that.
And one year I made you watch some of them.
We watched that horror movie.
Yep.
The found footage
talking
one,
about that.
The documentary one, right? Yeah.
Uh-huh. And we watched Jaws.
Jaws, yes. That's the other one.
Yes.
Both horror
we
movie-esque.
Well, that's when I made this list, which is just a brief list of what I watched on Independence Day, July 4th. A lot of them are horror movies. Which feels right, I think.
Perfect.
Yes. And even if they aren't, they terrified me because I do watch Independence Day. I know. But when I was a kid, I had my brother, I've told this story before, my older brother played this prank on me. He scared me so bad. It was about aliens that I could not watch E.T. Like, no joke. Could not do it.
That's kind of one of those movies that a lot of people, if they watched as children, are still scared of it.
It's scary. I did end up watching it, I think, 7 years ago for the first time. And I was still, a little unsettled.
Not cute.
No, and that sound of him screaming in the beginning, and there's a whole quarantine scene.
Mm-hmm. That quarantine scene is really scary. I think that's what everybody was kind of scared of. I remember seeing it and be like, Why are they dressed like that?
Well, now we know. But it scared me so bad, this prank, that I couldn't watch Independence Day. And they showed it one year in one of my classes. And I had to leave. I literally had to leave. And I think I made some excuse of I gotta go to the bathroom, and just did not come back for 30 minutes until the class was over.
No one noticed?
I think he did. I remember this teacher very well. And he probably was I wasn't a troublemaker, so he was probably whatever. And it was one of those, it's the end of some day in a holiday calendar.
Right. I was like, why would you be watching this? That's odd. There's no educational benefit to this.
No, but we watched a lot of movies. We watched The Ring. I don't...
What?
In 7th grade.
What? Yes. Wow.
Yeah, so I watched plenty of movies that had, no educational value at all. They're just trying to pass the day.
I'm hungover. Watch this movie.
Yes. But it was very embarrassing because even by that point, I had kind of a reputation of the girl who likes horror movies. And for me to pretty much fall out of my chair and say, I gotta go. Because we're watching Independence Day. This was in high school.
Which is not technically a horror movie.
No, but that's how scared I was of aliens. I think I made it to that part where Brett Steiner's no peace. And I was like, I gotta get out of here.
Now that you're saying all this, I don't think I've ever seen this movie either. I had no interest. I still don't, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty corny. It's really corny. And then it has one of the most infamous that doesn't work technologically, where they send the ship a virus, a computer virus, the alien ship, a computer virus from a Mac laptop at the end. Which you gotta love.
Amazing. Like yes. You can't just you could just email it to a
and they, like,
UFO.
One of the aliens opens it up and it's like a e-card, and this skull comes out and is like
So I'm getting this confused with Mars Attacks, and I know they're not the same thing, but like that seems more plausible in Mars Attacks than what I just heard it being in Independence Day, because that's supposed to be a real a serious movie, right?
Well, serious.
What if this really happened?
Right.
Like, kind of be more realistic, other than Mars Attacks, where we see the goofiness.
Mm-hmm.
With Glenn Close.
Well, see, Mars Attacks I haven't seen since I was a kid too, because it scared me so badly.
Okay.
But I do remember, this is a very 90s movie. Like, it's got a lot of the kind of latent homophobia, I would say. A lot of jokes about lawyers, which, again, was big in the 90s. And then there's the whole plot line. Will Smith's wife is a sex worker. She's a stripper. And the first lady is like, oh, she's like, no, I enjoy what I do. And I remember as a kid being like, what? as a young woman, because I definitely did not see it until college. Just feels like I've seen it.
Kid.
Yeah. I think I saw it early college, but yeah.
When you said kid, I imagine, especially being shocked, I imagined you being 12.
No, but you know what? That might be. I think I'm also confusing this with Armageddon, which also has a stripper scene, which I did see in middle school.
Okay. We don't ever see aliens in Armageddon, though, right?
No. Which is why I watched that one. I saw that one.
Every time I think of that one, I think of
the song,
the Aerosmith songs.
Yeah.
And
Don't Want to Slip Away.
Yeah, and also his daughter.
Steve Buscemi.
No, not Steve Buscemi.
I was saying that's who I think of. That was a hilarious misunderstanding.
Anyway, moving on.
Okay. Oh man.
Okay.
Yeah. So I do watch that. It definitely has the death of the mom, and it has the two dudes fighting over one person. It's got a lot of stuff we could talk about. We're not going to. The Bay, which is the one you were talking about.
Yes.
Originally it was supposed to be a documentary, but the creator he thought more people would watch it if he made a horror movie. And it's found footage. It's meant to seem like a documentary. Mm-hmm. I saw it. I think I've told this story before because it just sticks with me. Every time I watch this movie, I think of it. I was an intern at the company that eventually, it's the same job I've had, but the company has changed names 7 times, but it's the same job. But I was an intern, and for some reason, I was volunteering. I think it was the day after Thanksgiving. Somebody had to be in the office. Going back to that old Encode script I told you about, somebody had to be there to make sure it worked and didn't fail. And so I volunteered to do it. And I had to have this special phone because I was the only one on the floor. And then, of course, my very intelligent self decided to watch horror movies while I was waiting for things to encode. And I watched The Bay. And there's one scene, and I remember it so well. I jumped so badly that my headphones got ripped off, and my rolly chair went all the way back to the opposite wall.
Wow.
But yeah, it's an environmental horror movie. It's about isopods taking over people's tongues and eating them from the inside. And it takes place on the 4th of July. So I watched it on the 4th of July.
On the 4th of July.
Yeah. It's a really it's unsettling. Every time I watch it, I'm suddenly very uncomfortable drinking water because it's about it being in the water and getting in that way. And I was scared of isopods before because there was that viral picture that went around of the isopod eating fish's tongue and just living as its tongue and eating. Yeah, and it sticks with me. That movie sticks with me. It is upsetting. It's upsetting. It's about kind of companies and politicians and organizations lying to people. And what happens? What happens? Another one, I don't watch this one every 4th of July because it's a really bad movie. I Know What You Did Last Summer. It was one of the first slasher movies I saw. I think I saw it on like what was then the WB. So it was edited, like it wasn't as graphic as it is, but it scared me. And I remember I had a nightmare about that fisherman guy coming up into my room with a hook that night. So I was really scary, and I hadn't watched it in forever. And then I was joking about, I told the story before, but one of the biggest, funniest twist ever, in my opinion, is in I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, when I guess the joke is because his name was Ben's son, I'm supposed to know his name. He was Ben's son. So I was telling that story a couple years ago, and somebody was like, we should watch I Know What You Did Last Summer. I haven't seen it in forever. And we did. And it's not good. Like the acting is bad. It's just not good. I have been told by some listeners, in fact, that it's based on a book, which I didn't know. And the book is really good. And they made a lot of changes in the movie that were not good.
Is it a Christopher Pike book?
I don't know. I have never heard of it.
Because a lot of these movies that I'm like, this is like one of the teen horror stories that I would read. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's just legends. And then they make it into that story, and then it becomes a movie. I don't know, but like it reminded me of those.
Yeah. This, the movie, it's good. Like it's got a lot of those kind of toxic, like the way Ryan Phillippe was. He was terrible. Yeah, like an awful character, drunk driving, leaving someone for dead. Like it's a lot of bad, not good things. And then Sarah Michelle Gellar's character is kind of like the beauty queen, is treated as like she's very inferior, not very smart. Interesting looks at trauma. I won't say good, but interesting. And then, yeah, I mean, it's got its creepy moments, but overall, I just was like, oh dear, this scared me as a kid. But
is this one of your?
It takes place over the 4th of July.
Movies?
Yeah. I would say I watch it like every 3 years. I don't watch it every year, but I do. It's a 4th of July movie.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll see how this 4th of July goes.
Enjoy. So I think of 4th of July because I think of The Sandlot. There's this big scene of them like loving 4th of July because that's the only time they get to play baseball at night because the sky's lit up. But I always think about that scene.
I think because I told you I hadn't seen Sandlot as a kid. I'm pretty sure we watched it after I made you watch my horror movies.
We did.
Yeah,
You're correct. I was like, well, now I'm going to make you this because I think of 4th of July with this scene.
Yes.
Enjoy.
And there is a big, I think a season of Stranger Things came out on 4th of July, and it had a big 4th of July arc. But my number one movie is Jaws. That is my number one July 4th movie. A big part of the plot is the reason they won't close the beaches, even though all the experts are telling them to, is because it's the 4th of July and they need to get those tourists in and make those tourist dollars. And I think I've watched this movie every year since I was like 8 or 9. I love it. And my dad and I would have because he saw it in theaters, and he had this story where the popcorn bowl went up everywhere and popcorn showered the crowd because it scared him so bad. And then we talked about Jaws 4: The Revenge, which is a very bad Jaws movie. And we talked about some of the feminism of Jaws in there, if you want to check it out. I have been on a shark movie kick lately, and I was joking with my D&D group, if I had time, I would do a whole podcast that was just about all of these shark movies. There's a movie called Noah's Shark. It's terrible. Shark Exorcist, Santa Jaws. Why?
But you've never seen Sharknado.
I've never seen Sharknado.
I still can't believe this. I've never seen it either, but I don't love shark movies. So
I do feel bad, as we said in that shark episode, because I know after Jaws came out, it was such a big hit. A lot of people say it was one of the first summer blockbuster. Like it kind of started that idea. But because of that, and I did a whole report about this, I said it in that episode, the gray nurse shark was almost hunted to extinction because people were so scared of this shark, which if we're to believe Jaws the Revenge is a psychic shark. So I think that's a separate thing. I don't think that's the same as your regular shark.
If we were to believe.
I think we just have to examine all the pieces we have of this puzzle and make a logical guess, hypothesis. But yeah, I mean, there's been numerous experts saying that it's not how a shark would work, like not how it would move, not how it would anything. I think it's a whole different thing. But it also came up when I was in Vegas recently, where we were all talking about Jaws and how we all knew this kind of surprising amount of trivia about it. So it was an impactful movie. I used to watch it at the beginning of every summer because I was that kind of kid who liked to scare myself before I got in the water. But now it's July 4th. I know, it says something about me, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
But aliens, apparently they do exist. However, we've never seen it. Sharks, however, that we definitely seen. No problem.
Look, the human psyche is complicated, Samantha. I can't explain it. Yes, well, those are my movies. I would love to hear, listeners, if you have any movies that you just are going to be watching, any foods, whether you celebrate or not. Just what do you do when you got a day off and you're like, this is it, especially if you're tired and it's hot. So please let us know. You can email us at stephandiamomstuff@iheartmedia.com. You can find us on Twitter at momstuffpodcast or on Instagram and TikTok at Steph One Never Told You. We're also on YouTube. We have a TeePublic store. We have a book you can pre-order at stephyoushouldreadbooks.com and Audible. Thanks as always to our super producer, Christina, our executive producer, Maya, and our contributor, Joey.
Hope you celebrate well.
Yes. And thanks to you for listening. Steph One Never Told You is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, you can check out the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.